The way we talk to God is the ultimate test of where our heart actually sits. It's the bridge between our small, finite struggles and His infinite power. But when life hits hard, when the doctor's report is bad, the bank account is dry, or the person you trusted walks away, that bridge can start to crack. We tell ourselves we're just being real, but there's a danger in letting our pain dictate our vocabulary. If you felt like your prayers are hitting a brass ceiling lately, it's worth looking at the words you're using. Sometimes, without even realizing it, we stop talking to God as a father and start talking to Him as if He's the one on trial. Today, we're looking at 5 specific things that can sabotage your faith and the biblical mirrors that show us a better way. Never, Lord, the logic of defiance. We've all had those moments where you feel a nudge from the Holy Spirit to do something that makes absolutely no sense. Maybe it's a prompt to apologize to someone who actually hurt you, or a call to give a sacrifice when you're already struggling. In that moment, your gut reaction is a wall. You say, "Never, Lord." You feel like your own common sense gives you a veto power over what God is asking. If you've ever felt that internal resistance, you're looking into the mirror of Peter. In Acts 10, when God showed Peter a vision that broke all his religious rules, Peter's response was a total contradiction. "Surely not, Lord." You can't call Him Lord and say no at the same time. The word Lord implies total authority. When we say never to God, we aren't being protective of our lives, we're being defiant of His plan. Every no to the process is an accidental no to the promotion that follows. The hostile why, the language of cross-examination. There are seasons where the math of your life simply doesn't add up. You look at the tragedy, the layoff, or the sudden loss, and you demand, "Why, God?" Now, there is a why of pain, the kind Jesus cried on the cross, and God can handle that. But there is another kind of why that is a cross-examination. It's the why that demands God step into the witness stand and justify Himself to you. The theological mirror reminds us that God often withholds the why because our finite minds couldn't carry the weight of the answer. As Ecclesiastes suggests, with much wisdom comes much sorrow. When we demand an explanation, we're acting as the judge and making God the defendant. To find peace, we have to move from "Why is this happening?" to "What are you doing in this?" This one-word shift moves you from a place of bitter rebellion to a place of humble growth. If you loved me, you would. The transactional ultimatum. This is the feeling of being let down by heaven. You've kept the commandments, you've served in the church, you've stayed faithful, so you feel like God owes you. You find yourself thinking, "If you really cared about me, you'd fix this right now." This is an ultimatum. It treats God like a vending machine where you expect a specific payout for your spiritual input. This traces back to the mirror of Eden. The serpent's original lie was that God was withholding something good from Adam and Eve. When you give God an ultimatum, you're saying His goodness is only real if He meets your specific deadline. But real faith is the reckless trust of Job, who stood in the middle of total loss and declared, "Though He slay me, yet will I trust Him." Ultimatums aren't signs of strength, they're signs of a lack of trust. You're being unfair, the slander of character. It's easy to look at the world and see people who don't even know God getting the very breakthroughs you've been fasting for. It feels like a slap in the face. Your internal cry is, "God, this isn't fair." But this is a direct accusation against the character of the Creator. The mirror of Romans 3 shatters the idea that we even want fairness. If God were strictly fair with us, none of us would be standing here today. What we actually want is grace. When we accuse God of being unfair, we're claiming that our sense of justice is higher than His. We're putting Him on trial in our own imagination. As Psalm 92 says, He is the rock in whom there is no unrighteousness. When you stop demanding your rights and start recognizing His mercy, the bitterness in your spirit begins to dissolve. Oh my, the casualness of profanity. We live in a culture that treats the name of God as a punctuation mark. We've become so familiar with Him that we've lost the awe. Whether it's using His name in a joke or calling Him the big guy, we're stripping away the reverence that is the actual power source of our prayer life. Look into the mirror of Jewish tradition. To this day, many observant Jews won't even write out the full name of God for fear of it being treated as common. They understand that the divine is not average. Research actually shows that prayers of praise, which focus on the high, holy, and transcendent names of God, physically lower stress and anxiety. But casual or angry speech keeps your brain in fight or flight mode. Treating God as common eventually makes your faith feel common too. The conclusion: the way you speak to God determines the atmosphere of your life. As you pull back on the defiance and the casualness, you open up a new level of intimacy. You move from a place where you're trying to control the outcome to a place where you're resting in the one who holds the world. If you've realized today that your words have been building a wall instead of a bridge, I want you to type "My words will honor you" in the comments. Let's commit to changing the language of our faith. Click that like button if this challenged you and subscribe to Scribed Hearts. Your tongue is the steering wheel of your life. Let's make sure it's pointing towards the throne. Stay bold, stay faithful, stay victorious.